bunch of calls tonight. Things to take care of out here. Um, and I just found this tarantula spider by the hot springs. So look inside this hidey hole. Oh, they don't let me use a flashlight. So let's see if I can. See, there's a tarantula hole. Let me see the tarantula inside. There we go. Oh, he like totally disappeared deeper into the hole. It's gonna be another one of those dark videos, unfortunately. So yeah, I volunteered for the night to, answer calls and make sure everybody's safe. And I solved most of them already. I'm still working on a couple. Um, so we had a fight out here earlier between two slabbers. Um, in the altercation, a set of keys is missing and someone's ID, and I'm negotiating with the three different parties to get that person back their keys and ID. So I'm working on that. I'm also looking for another call of a missing phone that's very important to someone, which is why I've been scanning the ground with light, going over where they say they were. So far, I have not found that phone, unfortunately. And the only potentially serious one was a case, I believe it might be the same one that Waterboy was working on for a while, which is a couple having domestic issues, and the one of the participants uh, stalking the other after a breakup. I went down and did an investigation on that one. Seems like everything's okay. There were two other people also responded to that just because they, were in the neighborhood. So three of us made sure that slabber was okay, and that we were keeping the parties in their separate corners, making sure no violence happens, and making sure that everybody's safe. So yeah, that's the kind of the things we do out here. We all take turns, so we work together. The whole community comes together for something very serious and important. Um, I basically uh, do a little similar but a little different job than Waterboy does. I'm more local, so he has authority in the whole slabs, and him and a couple other people. Um, when the real serious shit happens. Um, those are they get those cases. Even though I do get serious cases as well, like the few of them have authority slab wide. People, I have a lot of authority in my own neighborhood, which is basically Salvation Mountain south to the Lower Canal, to the entrance guard track, which I'm almost at right now. Um, but I don't patrol other parts of the slabs unless it's to support, one of those other parties when they're like, hey, we need some help, or we want to bring extra bodies. Um, then I'll go with them. Um, I only lead the patrols in my own kind of zone here. And also, I don't think Waterboy and the other slabbers who do slab wide kind of conflict resolution and mediation and emergency response. Um, They don't do things like lost phones, like I do with lost dogs. I do a lot of, because I also do a lot of dog rescues, so it makes sense to send the guy who speaks dog out to find the dogs, and most likely the dog's gonna come to me if I find them. So I tend to do a lot of the smaller stuff as well as the larger stuff. Like, things happen everywhere. I'm just as likely to respond to, a potentially violent situation as they are. They're just less likely to, waste their time on small things. Whereas me, I'm like, uh, you know, our neighborhood is a family, and we're all very tightly knit, unlike a lot of the rest of Slabs. You know, um, you know, we all stick together. We have a very united neighborhood. So I care about. They're all my family. So my family is lost dog. Yeah, I'm gonna get up and look for the dog. Um, somebody in my family loses a phone that they use to make their income. I'm gonna go look for the phone, which is what I'm doing right now. But also, if it's a potentially violent stalking situation, or a serious fight, and I have to mediate, I'll do that as well. I'm not a cop, I'm not Batman, I'm not Superman. You know, um, Everybody's free here. I don't tell nobody what to do. There are very few rules. You hear it over and over again from different slabbers. The very basic, bare minimum. Don't mess with children. Don't mess with the elderly. Don't mess with the vulnerable. Don't mess with women in general. I mean, that gets a little blurry sometimes because women can be the abuser too. And nobody not tough out here. Many of the major camps are run by women. So I'm not a misogynist. I don't underestimate women's potential for greatness or violence. So I don't really look at gender. I look at who's right and wrong. But in general, yes, we shouldn't be going after a grown man with 60 pounds and an anger problem over a woman who's a foot shorter and 50 pounds less than him. He shouldn't be punching her. And he shouldn't be bullying, because that's what it is. If you fight people weaker than you, I don't see no reason you would ever have to fight somebody weaker than you. I've apprehended or prevented violence from people who are weaker than me, but I'm only really going to fight hard if the person's stronger than me. That's the only time you need to. Otherwise, you're a bully. It's excessive force. So it's a call from the willing, and you're very accountable. If I'm out here and and I get scared, which ain't gonna happen, but if I get scared, hit somebody, use too much force, or did something that was considered, morally questionable, then I have to answer for that. People are not going to be like, hey, we don't trust you anymore. That's why I don't operate in the rest of the slabs, because the place where I do operate in my neighborhood, which is a couple, between 1 and 2 square miles at least over here, I have trusted people. So they want to call me. They know I'm good at it. They know I care. They know I will get out of bed if emergency occurs. And another difference between me and those kind of slab-wide guardians and neighborhood watch folks is I do medical response as well, and animal response, like I said earlier. So I have CPR certification. I do first aid. People are not going to call neighborhood watch for that. They're going to call one of the caregivers for that. But as a person who's both, I could tend to both. I could mediate the fight and treat the injury if necessary. So it's handy to be both. I'm not going to make a habit of these dark videos, but I kind of like them. I was going to take a quick dip in the hot springs since I walked past it, but I do want to diligently look for this phone. And I still have to I sent a friend up to negotiate if they even have these keys or if they have the person's ID. I don't know. Um, the person says that they were grabbed and taken in the altercation in the fight that happened, but he could be wrong about that heat of the moment. Um, you know, uh, maybe maybe it fell off the person while they were rolling around in the sand. Who knows? Everybody's okay. I don't even really see any major injuries, so it looks like just neighbors who things got a little hot and they punched each other in the face a couple times and wrestled on the ground, and that was it. And the guy can't find his ID and car keys, and thinks the guy he was fighting automatically took him. I don't know that to be the case, but generally, like I'll negotiate amnesty, and that's worked for me several times. So I'll say, hey, like if you have the keys, like I'm gonna leave my camp, and whoever has them, put them in my mailbox, and I'm not gonna tell the other party like where they came from. They just want the keys. Here's your keys. I'm sorry, I can't tell you who gave them to me. That's why I do the Dropbox, because I'm an honest person. I don't want to lie and hold back information. So if I take a walk for 20 minutes and come back, the keys are in there. I'm happy with that. And then I can go in and, as we said, I don't have to put them in the box. Offer a little amnesty. Usually gets the people to give this stuff up. Oh, there's one more call. We're on the lookout for a missing tow behind trailer. Looks like a folding arm on the back. I have not seen that. I checked the usual suspects in my neighborhood, so I'm going to go ahead and pass that on up into the slabs, and I'll tell them to keep on the lookout that a blue medium-sized tow behind trailer, not a living trailer, but like a flatbed kind of thing, with a collapsible extension. It was stolen tonight from someone's camp in my neighborhood, and after a thorough search of the neighborhood and asking people, no one knows. No one seems to have it, and no one seems to know which direction it headed. So, it either went south out of the slabs, or it went north into the slabs. So I'm just going to pass the word along that like it's not in this area. I checked, which I did, and talked to a couple of people, and no one saw it. I also live on this road, so I watch every car that passes by in the night, but I just happened to be working on my camp just had a fire, and I'm rebuilding. And the only real time you could work on is at night, and I volunteered to do night watchman tonight, so I knew I was going to be up until 3 in the morning or so. So I'm just taking the calls as I clean my camp and organize. I actually can't wait to show around, do some before and afters. I feel like I turned the corner, and I'm excited about rebuilding. I think the camp will be better than ever. I was able to help all of the people who were staying with me get better housing, and so tonight, the first night in many months actually, that I'm alone in my camp. Friends who pass by and hang out or whatever, but like today I'm the only camp member of my camp because the couple that I was helping got a new trailer and moved down towards the canal, and my other friend moved up into the slabs with her friends. She's leaving in a couple of days. And so everybody just happened to leave at the same time, which happens a lot in the summer. Sometimes I'm here for 2 to 4 weeks at a time in the summer. And other summers I've had the largest camp in Slabs because, hey, people gravitate to where the other people are. We have each other's spots. So there's been times where I've had 20 people in the summer, which is huge. It's like tremendous. Most camps have 0 to 2 people. So I have 20 people in the summer, which I've done a couple summers. But it's because like, hey, I have the water, and I have the power, and I have the space, and I have the experience and the resources to band together. And it's important to me. Every slabber's life is important. So sometimes it works out that way. But so far, it looks like it's just gonna be me and a couple of neighbors, and we all hang out together. So 5 camps, 5 or 6 or 7 people, and we hang out at each other's camp. So we're never alone. I'll help Patriot Point tomorrow, and then we'll all help Freedom Camp the next day, and etc. We'll all help the Dab Lounge the next day, and then they'll come help me with my stuff. And none of us are ever alone, even if we're the only camp member. As long as the space is occupied, it'll be here next season when people come back. And you never know how many it's going to be. Sometimes there's 5 people in the camp. I've had over 100 in my camp a couple times at skate park. I've had up to 30 people in my camp back in the days at Goonies and B-Side. And I've had as little as 3 or 4 sometimes. This place is seasonal, and it's a home for travelers, so people come and go. I'm one of a very small number of people who stay year-round. I like it. I reserve the right to travel too. I just tend to stay the summers because I can make a big impact and a big difference. Like, hey, since everybody's gone, I get to be the captain in the neighborhood watch for it's normally I wouldn't get an opportunity to do that, because there's so many camps and so many people. You got a dozen people all doing that job. It's kind of fun to like do the overnight night watchman all by yourself. I like having the slabs to myself. I took like a 9-mile hike today because I was in a fair amount of pain for the last couple of days, and I had a heat and exhaustion very close call yesterday. So I wasn't feeling well for the last few days. I haven't got out much, and then today I just blew it out and did probably a 10 to 12 miles of hiking in a day today, and I enjoyed that. Oh, it's quiet on the western front. Oh, I'm yawning, and it's like super early. I'm still on for a couple hours. I can't turn off my live stream to see. But, yeah, that's the kind of things that I would respond to and help with if someone got hurt, if someone was in trouble or felt unsafe, and there's a fight, there's a dispute over property or whatever. That, in my neighborhood, at least, I have the authority to make a decision. You can leave that with them, and I'll talk to elders about it tomorrow. But for now, leave this camp and leave it with that person, and they'll listen to me. It just requires a lot of trust. I wasn't doing that in my first year. Your first year, you learn how to be a slabber. You're a greenhorn. I actually ended up being a camp head in my first year. Some people do that. But I was still a greenhorn and a camp head at the same time, and I treated it as such. I deferred to elders even when I didn't agree with them, because they've been here longer and they know how it goes. And I'm probably wrong and they're probably right if I disagree with them. Not always the case, but better to err on the side of respecting people. And, second, after a couple of years, get good at it, and you're a camp head, and you make decisions for your camp, and maybe you're respected by your neighbors, and also so you sit down in circles together and work neighborhood issues out. If you're good at that, then your 3rd, 4th, 5th year, you get a little authority, you get a little respect. And when you stick your neck out, when you know that's being fair or brave under fire, or and you make friends that way. I made friends the first couple of years with a few librarians. Um, uh, my first year here, uh, like our first 9 months or more, Cornelius wasn't in the Slab City. They were traveling to Alaska or something. So I never knew them. I met the rest of the library crew, and how I met them was hey, we keep running to the same fire. Every time we see a fire on the horizon, hey, I'm there with a shovel, and this guy's there with a shovel. Hey, nice to meet you. We should work together. I can have your number, and if you see a fire, you call me, and vice versa. And at the range, I started to learn their calls. They have calls like if there's a threat at the range from an outsider, drunk and belligerent, or sexual harassment, or whatever it is, emergencies, medical emergencies. They have calls that they do, and I quickly picked those up and just stood with them and obeyed the call. Hey, that's the come over here fast call. I get over there faster with them and stand in a circle with them. They're not gonna say no to one more fucking body on their side. It's actually like met a lot of the original librarians that way, and other people too. It's a fun way to meet people. All the bikers know each other. We pass each other on the road all the time. Got a flat tire, I'll stop and help you fix it. I get a flat tire, stop and help me fix it. It's a nice organic way to make friends. Oh, I'm glad I did a stream even if it's boring and dark because look how tired I am. So having the darkness to speak into is helping me from sitting on this very cool midnight sand, taking a nap. I won't miss a call. I'll plug my phone in and everything, but the camp is kind of in the shambles right now because after the burnout, just like we're redesigning everything, and I'm working largely by myself. I'm offered a lot of help, but I want to get the basics down before start wasting people's time. Like make sure the materials are in place, make sure I have a good plan of what I want to build. I'm almost done with this bike here. I just wrote it down there for the first goal, looking for stuff. Um, I got to put some front brakes still on it. I got this engine I have laying over here. It's a 40cc motor engine here, which I used last year, so I'll just mount that onto the bike frame here, and I'll have a homemade motorbike, and that'll make my life a little easier. This van I've been sleeping in, but now I have my main trailer back, so I'm in the process of moving all the stuff over there. And my friend just got back. He's a traveler. He's a great mechanic. I have a little bit of money in my pocket, just enough to pay for the labor and the parts, and a timing belt ran out, which is beyond my level of expertise in uh, mechanics. I'm great at electronics, even electrical and things like that, but or software and things like that. But yeah, I can't pull an engine out, find the timing chain, replace it, and put it back in any reasonable or decent way. So I'll pay my friends to do that, or I'll barter. But I just want to give them cash because I have a little cash, not much, but enough to $50 or something is a lot of money in the slabs. I've lived on $50 a month out here for extended periods of time because we'll barter. You fix my van, and I'll let you drive it a couple times a week, and now you have a vehicle where you could go bring your recycling in and make money on that, and it's better than getting paid $100 up front if you could do that for 6 months and make a couple $1,000, and so on. So having a diverse skill set is a huge asset out here because being a jack of many trades gives me a lot of options. I can fix your phone, I can fix the computer, I can write code, I can train in medical, I can help build, I can help people. I do a lot of helping people sign up for food stamps, sign up for medical, start businesses and corporations, different types of S corp and C corp and not for profits and whatever. I do people's taxes even. So it's easier to live on very little money when you have a diverse skill set like that. I also teach. I taught a lot in New York City, so people want to learn a skill that I know, then I can say, hey, I'll teach you guitar, or I'll teach you HTML, or I'll teach you JavaScript, or artificial intelligence, or machine learning, or how to build a computer, or how to fix them, or whatever I know how to do that I can teach, and that could be my meal ticket for an extended period, maybe for a couple months. Teach them twice a week, and I get all the eggs that their chickens lay, or half of them. Uh, just works better. I enjoy the barter system, um, but really, financial transactions, buying stuff over each other, we do that too, but it's infrequent, at least for me. Um, it's more for Babylonians and strangers. You know, it's easier. Hey, give me $1 for a soda. But once you get to know someone, and someone's your neighbor, well, I'll trade you that soda for a hot dog, and we'll both have a soda and a hot dog. You do that, and then as people become family and really close friends, and you start relying on each other, then I'm just going to give you the hot dog, and you're just going to give me the soda. It's a gift economy at that point, and I tend to live on the gift economy that way. Like a lot of people, like, how much do you charge? Well, I don't charge. I don't charge for a laptop. I'll give you a phone for free, like a fixed one. You have to wait a bit because I have a long waiting list, but I'll get them. I have a lot. I fix a lot of them. I give away at least 100 devices here. That's a lowball estimate too. If I have the parts, or I have the resources, so I will give 10 or 12 in a single shot. Take care of a whole neighborhood or a whole camp. Anyway, I'm on until 3 a.m. or so. So I can expect a tour of this place soon. Maybe in the dark see that I'm doing things like collecting furniture, designing a new camp layout on paper so that I have at least a rough plan. I built this temporary gypsy tent structure around the van here so that I have an outdoor area when it's very hot in the day. I have two vans. One is an abandoned one that we just use as a chill space, and the other is the van that I'm waiting on being repaired. So basically, I strap some tents between those two, and it's a 3-room kind of temporary shelter um, while I renovate the other trailer now that it's empty again. On the other side here, I've been laying out my building materials. How many metal poles do I have? How many 2x4s do I have? So I can get an idea. So there's all my metal and 2x4s. I have all of my metal fencing, like mattress springs, and use the fencing. I have some legit chain link as well. One of my friends does renovations in towns next door in Calipatra and in Nyland, and he's really good at it. Like, he does a lot of construction and contractor work, and they often give him building materials, and so he's bringing me lots of new fencing too. So that's exciting. But I do have a bunch of chain link. I've been collecting fencing, like a pile of old plywood, piles of pallets, and hoses, and binding materials, rope and twine, and there's another pile over here of bedding. So I've been salvaging what I can and I do this frequently in between like camp builds. So like all the bedding stuff, all the car stuff in one place, all the bike stuff in another. And then once there's all the tents and tarps, coverings for ceilings, rain flies. And then it's easier once I have that all organized to see what I'm working with and come up with a design that utilizes that in a smart way. I've been collecting these 10x10s for a while. They collapse really easily, and people throw them in the garbage all the time. So I have very many of them. They're like the 10x10 party things like flea market kind of tent, but they come off with an Allen key. Once they come off with an Allen key, I can use them like Legos. So I take them apart with an Allen key, and I just put it back together however I want. That's actually how I made the Van Gypsy tent thing that I have going on over there. The family that was in here just moved out yesterday, so I just started repurposing this stuff today. So it's really it's still chaos because I just started throwing new material in here as well to see what I have to work with as far as indoor materials. What kind of furniture do I have? How many tables? How many beds? What do I want to do with this space? So I'm probably gonna put a room over here, a workspace here. Uh, I have the hacker space right now in between those two vans, believe it or not. That's where I've been doing all my electronics repairs and have all my laptops and my code and things like that. But I'm gonna put it back inside the hacker space in here. So, and I've done a hackerspace actually in every camp in Slabs. If you watch my old videos, you'll see that I did one at skate park. I did one at B-side. I've done one here in Buddha's house, and then so this will be like the fourth or fifth one. So I was working on lighting in there and batteries and panels. There's a family with children who are really cool people, and I really like the oldest son. Like he's kind of like my friend, and the middle child, like I hang out with now too. It's like the teenage boys. Really smart, like brilliant kids. So I just like, and their parents are just like, yep, they're just like you. So I was a kid and they're cool with that, They use solar panels and battery. I have an extra panel and I just refurbished some batteries. So I'm gonna go bring one up to them tomorrow. Then like, what would I charge them? Like, I have children and I have a panel that cost me nothing but like time and a little, muscle to carry it over here. And like, there's no reason for me to take money from them. I'll get invited to barbecues and I'll eat burgers at the range, and me and their kids play Magic the Gathering. So we'll trade cards, and I prefer to get paid that way. And, that's why when I had a water emergency yesterday, around a dozen people helped me because that's what happens when you take love as a payment. You get love when you need it. You're having a heat exhaustion, or your water for some reason gets contaminated or accidentally spilled out or stolen or whatever. They'll come to your rescue. I'd rather have that than $1. Can't buy that for $1. I was like really moved yesterday by how many people helped me. It's like, we're all tough and self-sufficient, and I rarely ask for help, but once or twice a year, I become the slabber in need, and somebody answers the call to me. Sometimes in the middle of the night, or sometimes on a 107-degree day, like it was yesterday. My friends and neighbors, they weren't going to let me be a casualty because I need them and they need me. And if I go down now, then who's going to do CPR on this side of the slab? I try hard to earn the privilege where they want to help me because I'm a vital part of the community, and it makes me feel good to be needed and loved in that way. The rest of the days of the year, I really remind myself as often as I can. You got to earn that time they saved your life 6 months ago, and the time they're going to do it again in 6 months. I'll do it for anyone. That's why I volunteer for this stuff. It's all a coalition of the willing. There's only a handful of people who are like, yeah, okay, let's organize this instead of having chaos. And hey, what are those lights over there? Hey, there's a fight. Who's participating in the dark? We can't see. Let's organize. That way we know, like, okay, that's his area. And if he needs it, he's going to shine his light down here, and I'm going to run up there because he shined it. It just makes it safer and more efficient for everyone to do it that way. jobs, but there are many jobs in the slabs. Some people cook, some people build, some people teach, some people do art, music. I try to do a little bit of everything. I know all of those things. I do all of those things every day. But it also makes me feel good, at my age, and especially like, having some health issues that are like on and off again. I have like 2 or 3 good days, 2 or 3 bad days is kind of the the pattern that has settled in now during my remission. So because I have a little bit of permanent damage, so some days I'm in pain, but on days like today when I'm not, I can say, hey, I volunteer. Waterboy's out of town. Other people are busy doing other tasks because somebody just needs a break. And I appreciate that they do it and I sleep safe at night. I'll do it tonight and you sleep safe. If I need you, I'll call you. But if I don't call you, don't worry about it. I like that sense of community. I really haven't had that kind of sense of community since living in the housing projects in the Bronx. That was the last time I never locked my door. And, I knew that there were a dozen beds in the neighborhood that I could sleep in, no questions asked. And that doesn't happen in condos or lofts, at least not commonly. I can't think of a neighbor here like that I could see the 20 camps surrounding me that I'm standing in the middle of now that would turn me down if I knocked on their door and say, hey, I don't want to talk about it. I just need a place to crash for the night. They would give me a sofa, a bed, a tent, whatever they have. Go take it. So of course. And I do that for people too. If any one of them walked in here and said, hey, I don't want to talk about it. Can I just have a place to crash for the night? Of course we can. You want some food too? Here's a battery. Have some light and charge your phone on you. I don't know if they're having an argument with their spouse or they're just depressed or going through something or whatever it is. They have anxiety maybe. I'm going to say yes to them. So that's a good feeling, and it's one of the reasons I stay. I have more friends, packed into a tight space here than I've had since a teenager in the Bronx. Where I knew everybody in the hood, and even the people you didn't like, you knew who they were. Thankfully, in this neighborhood here, like there's very few people I don't like. Some I love, some I like. I can't even think of more than maybe one or two that I tolerate that I don't really like you, but I can't know them either. If they come here hungry, they need a place to stay. I'm gonna treat them just like everybody else because they're in their right. And they'll do it to me too. You don't have to like somebody to be part of a community. It doesn't mean you hate them. It doesn't mean you deny them. And that's something that people do in Babylon. Like you live in Los Angeles or New York City or San Francisco, Chicago, or big city, San Diego, and I see people move into a rich loft building, for example, right? And they've been living there 6 months, and they call the cops on the homeless tent. It's been living there 6 years. That is your neighbor. They're not an interloper. You're the interloper. You're the new guy. You should respect them, and they could teach you a thing or two. They've been here a long time. Hey, my car don't get burglarized when I live in those kind of places because I respect the guy in the tent sleeping in front of it, and I'm gonna bring him a sandwich in the morning and thank him for looking over my car. And if the person's completely unstable or untrustworthy, you can sleep in the car. Like I'm okay with that too. I tend to value people over material, and that's unheard of to a lot of people. It's like, my God, why would you let a stranger live in your car? I'm like, he's not a stranger. He's been here for 6 years. Like, I know where he lives. He lives in the red tent. He's a veteran. He's a grandfather. He's somebody's grandpa. He deserves a comfortable place to sleep, or a warm one. It's his life and comfort. As my friend, you get to know him. It's way more important than the car. If I get a better car, just give him that one. Because I don't buy expensive cars. And that's a common attitude here, helping your neighbor. It's just a long lost part of our humanity. Living in urban areas where you're surrounded by strangers. I'm no neighbors whose door I can see when I look out my little hole. Ain't light, I don't know what it is here. I can see over a mile away. Eevees and Mucho and there's Sky and MJ and Kimma. I can see all the way down to the side from here. And so it's not a scary place to me as it is to a stranger. Because I know all the people. I can take a walk at night and feel safe. And, drive your car into here at night. You're going to feel unsafe, and you probably are going to be sort of unsafe unless you're with an established slabber, because there's a stranger walking around out there and doing stuff that they don't know our customs. You don't approach camps at night unless you are super down with the camp. Even myself, like, I will not walk to my next door neighbor's house after dark if the lights are off, unless it is a life or death emergency. And that's my neighbors, that's my family. I helped them establish that camp. They're here because I said, please live in the neighborhood with me. I want to be your neighbor. I'll help you set up your camp if you do it next to me. And still, I'm not going to go in there, now after midnight and wake somebody up or make them afraid or walk too close to their trailers. And strangers don't do that. I saw one video on YouTube that was like really disturbing, actually. And I know they meant no harm, but it was a bunch of people, 20-something kids from some nearby big city, running around the slabs at night and invading people's camps. They didn't mean to invade. They just don't know what those things mean. If you went to San Diego and ran through people's backyards in the middle of the night, you might get shot too, or you might terrify people, or they might call neighborhood watch or the police and say, hey, that guy's in a disabled person's backyard, and there's a bunch of people in the backyard with lights, and it's a scary situation for that person who can't walk, maybe. And they'll call for help, and now you're in trouble, and you're not around here. We don't trust you, we don't know you. So I worry for the kids. I get it. Like, I was an exploratory kid too, but that video kind of disturbed me because it was so dangerous, and they didn't realize how dangerous it was. It's like kids who lay in the middle of the street, and cars go on both sides of them, and things like that. Like, we all do stupid things when we're young, even when we're old. Let's face it. But don't run around Slab City at night. Slab City is perfectly safe at night if you have a place to go to. You're with an established camp, then fine. The range is open at 1 a.m. Walk right in, no problem. Enjoy the music. Maybe they're open till 2 or 3 in the summer. It's the only time we can operate is at night. Don't wander in the desert. There's a recipe for disaster and misunderstandings, and it makes the Slabs look like a much more dangerous place. But you gotta think about it. If we did that in your neighborhood, you'd be equally terrified, right? If I showed up with my mohawk and no shirt and an iron bar, which I'm walking around with right now, which is totally normal attire, in the middle of the night in Slab City, nobody's gonna blink an eye at it. People pull the police on me. It's just 'cause it's a crazy person walking around, in the street with an iron bar and a mohawk and no shirt on and no shoes on. You'd be scared too. We're just as scared of someone coming in here, and people think there's no laws. Of course, there's laws. All the usual laws apply. There's no local ordinances. That's all. So there's no building codes. A lot of the laws are lightly enforced. Even the one that do exist, because the police understand, the sheriff's department in particular, who has to deal with most of the crime and culture that happens here. They understand that for the most part we're self-policing. I've heard the sheriff say, I try to stand as left as they call me because they're good at self-policing. They do a good job. And I really appreciate that he does that. That's why I try so hard, because the example is set before me. You have people doing it harder, like I said. There's a lot of people out here who are not just finding lost phones in the middle of the night and finding lost. Anyway, I was talking about uh, uh, and things like rape and murder and horrific crimes. Um, I'm happy to work with the police, and I have. Uh, we also investigate those things on ourselves, and we share information between each other, and um, we try to figure it out. But absolutely, like when that poor Slab kid Poe was murdered brutally. Um, I told them everything I knew. It wasn't a lot because I wasn't anywhere nearby at the time of the crime, but I know some of the people involved, and I had a couple of interactions with them and their partner. And, I told them everything. That's important. Those people have families and at that age, and the family deserves to know what happened to the child. So I'm not against calling the police, and the police are not against coming here and helping and answering calls. It's just for the most part, they let us self-police because, like Daniel says in the documentary that came out recently, so oftentimes you're better getting called by the police than the slabs. We have stricter punishments for people who do horrific things, and lesser punishments for things that you would maybe get arrested for, like being mentally ill or drunk or belligerent. We may just carry you home and tuck you in if we know you. If you heard that fisticuffs fight, okay, it was a one-on-one consensual fight. We may let you finish until there's a clear winner, so we don't have to keep doing this. The police here are not allowed to do that, and they have to arrest you if they see somebody punched in the face. And we may understand more. Sometimes it's the way to solve a conflict. I'm not going to let anybody, mutilate each other or stab each other or anything like that. But sometimes you got to let them fight it out a little bit. Now they know who the winner is and who the loser is, and I don't have to put myself in danger trying to break them up all the time. But other crimes where the police have their hands tied because they have to follow certain rules and procedures. Paperwork that somebody's a child molester, a rapist, or someone murders a slabber in cold blood. The usual rules don't apply. It could be messy. Thank God I haven't had to participate in anything like that, but I have had to participate in some hard things. I had to make some hard decisions and say, we gotta make sure this doesn't happen again. I'm really proud that, at least in my neighborhood, I volunteer to help with the neighborhood watch because I stay year round and more. I know a lot of people, and I'm diplomatic and capable, highly capable. I did it only under the condition that besides them adding things like don't abuse the elderly, don't abuse single women and children and animals. I told them I'm not going to do this gay bashing and homophobia. If I'm going to help you guys with this stuff, you're going to help me with some punches a 20-year-old artist who never threw a punch in his life. And this guy's bullying him and punching him in the face. And if he doesn't even hit back, he just cries because he's such a beautiful, sensitive soul. let's help that kid too. He deserves rights too. And they say yes, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. So I give it my all. Yeah. So what are you doing tonight? Watching television? Eating reheated leftovers? I'm not judging, but a lot of people judge us. Everybody out here is a junkie. Everybody out here is a psychopath. And they're all felons. Are there junkies and psychopaths and felons out here? Yes. And guess what? Most of them are good people too. Most people are just good people. If you want to measure a piece of shits, well, you got plenty or more in Babylon, as we do here. And there's some things we could judge you on. Um, we do not step over our mentally ill or elderly or disabled. I feel, and a lot of people I think feel this way in Slabs. Every dog is my dog. Every child is my child. Every grandma's my grandma. And I treat them as such. If I see a dog in need, I'm gonna help the dog as if it's mine. If I see a hungry child, I'm gonna feed the child. If a grandmother needs help building something or going shopping, I'm gonna do it like it's my grandmother. And come on, grandma, I'll take you in the car and I'll carry your groceries for you. And of course, I'm not gonna charge you for gas. I was going anyway. And that is rare to find in Babylon. So, despite maybe a little bit of extra um, toughness and harsh exterior that people may see, we're actually kinder to each other than most of you are. I will never step over someone in help that needs help, and most livers won't. You try you try sleeping on the side of the road, in, in a cardboard box or in just a sleeping bag here. No one's gonna leave you there. Maybe we'll leave you there for a day or two because maybe we're having a good time, you know. But if I see somebody struggling and that's all they have, I'm not gonna leave them there. I'm just not gonna leave them there. I'm gonna see what they're about. If I have an empty room, they're gonna get the empty room. You see, because they're not less than me. I'm not better than them. I have an empty room, and there's a person in need of a room. This is why I build extra rooms. You know, that is unthinkable to most people. It will sit a single person, a young person with a good job, making $80,000, $90,000 a year. Maybe you're a graphic designer or an accountant or whatever, or project manager, and you could look out your window and you could have a 4-room apartment all to yourself, and it thought it would never occur. I could fit 3 of those people in here with me, and you're afraid of them. And most of the time, there's no reason to be. You should really get to know the human beings that are there. They're not there. Most of them because it's their fault. I said this before. I'll say it again. Nobody decides in the 2nd grade and raises their hand when people say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I want to be homeless. I want to be mentally ill. I want to be a junkie. I want to have health issues. I want to be an abuse survivor, so it makes it hard for me to interact. I want to have anxiety. I want to have depression. No child says that. Yet, when you look out your window, you somehow blame those people for their predicament, and it's not their fault. Even when people make bad decisions like become an alcoholic or an addict, like what led them to make that bad decision? What kind of pain must they have been in, or what kind of lack of support must they have had from society, from their family, uh, from their neighbors, uh, to make that decision? You see, and so that bothers me. If you're gonna judge us, that bothers me. That you could walk out your door and step over someone else's grandmother with a Starbucks in your hand. You know, and that is profoundly cruel to me to do to someone. I understand that people don't mean it in a cruel way. It's just indifference, and you're blind to it. That won't happen here. If someone wants to be alone, they can. If you want to sleep in just a sleeping bag or under the stars, shit, I've done that plenty of times myself. I love to sleep on my front lawn. Um, But if someone's in desperate need, I won't leave them in desperate need. And if we deal with our own mentally ill, it's not the police's problem. It's not someone else's problem. I'm not. Fuck off and go bother find another street. You see, we're gonna deal with that person. Uh, what services do you need? Are you able to integrate here? We're much more tolerant. Even things you'll hear all the time in the slabs. We have a lot of slabby sayings, and one of them is "We're all here because we're not all there." Um, we're very tolerant of other people's idiosyncrasies and eccentricities and mental conditions, and uh, you can walk around and talk to yourself here, no problem. Um, Nobody's gonna bat an eye as long as you're not hurting anyone else. As long as you know you could be weird. You could wear clothing of the opposite gender. You could not take a bath if you want to, as long as you're not, stinking up the oasis during coffee time. And even then, people are going to offer you a shower and fresh clothing. Usually, they're not just going to say, be cruel about it. The way most Babylonians would be if they walked into a Burger King or Starbucks. The bathroom is only for customers. You see. People have to recoup their investments and be sustainable, and you can't just walk into the Ponderosa and say, give me a free shower unless you've earned that. But you can say, hey, I don't have the $2 for showers. There's something else I can do, and I guarantee you, many camps and like the Ponderosa. I never tried it, but I bet they would. I know I've tried it at the Internet Cafe and other places. You don't have the dollar for coffee today. Can I sweep the floor? Can I do dishes? Is there anything else I could do? No one's ever said no to me in that situation. And I haven't heard of anyone else being told no either. Oasis is going to give you a cup of coffee if you offer to wash the cups for everyone afterwards, or sweep the floor, or do what you can do. Ponderosa will give you the shower instead of charging you the $2 or whatever they charge you. It costs gas to heat that water and ship it in, and they can't do it for free for everyone, but they have dishes too, and it's a large space, and maybe you could clean up, or they will find something for you to do if you ask in the right way. If you're not entitled or demanding, if you genuinely make an authentic offer to help in some way, then that is your payment, and no one's going to look down on you for it. I do the dishes when I don't have a dollar, and no one looks down on me, and I certainly don't look down on the guy doing the dishes when I have a dollar. And if I'm sitting there with $2, I'll buy one for someone else every time, even a stranger or a friend. So I like that element here that is heartbreakingly rare in most of America and most of the world. It's kind of getting back to a tribal human roots that we've lost there, where it's not somebody else's problem. We don't ship our homeless or mentally ill or our addicts or our elderly or disabled off somewhere where we don't have to look at them or pretend that they're not there, and we'll step over them while we enjoy things that they can't participate in. So yeah, so there's more fighting here. There's more petty crime. I think every Slab City doesn't have any problems that most other low-income communities that I've visited or lived in have. You have some drug use, you have some petty thefts, and assaults and domestic disputes and things like that. Just more handled by the locals, which is how it should be, because an officer who doesn't live in a particular neighborhood, for example, this happened to me a lot growing up in the Bronx. All the cops lived in Nassau County. This is how it works. So you have the 5 boroughs of New York City and Long Island. I've lived in both. And I love all of New York. There's no hate. But Nassau County is a upper middle class and middle class neighborhood where all the the Caucasian cops come from. And they live a different lifestyle. They have private houses. They have different rules. They tend to be more conservative, and they do not have the culture that you would have in housing projects. They don't know what it's like to struggle. And they don't understand the neighborhoods that they're policing, and it's very easy to dehumanize people in that way, because they don't look how you look or live how you live or have the same values, or you haven't stepped in their shoes and experienced their struggle. And I ran into that a lot, and that's how police brutality happens, because these people, just like with the homeless and the addicts and the mentally ill, they did it to themselves. They decided that it's their own fault, without looking at the circumstances of how that person got into that situation. I'll read the chat. Not only is it dark, but as I explained in my last dark live stream, my vision's been failing. So I even in the daylight, I can rarely read my phone as I'm doing something like live sharing. I just held it farther and farther away because I'm farsighted until um, I can no longer see it. So no matter, even if I hold it fully at arm's distance away, I still can't read it. So I'm gonna have to turn on some of the features for the old folks. I guess I'm getting old. I've had some health issues, and it's okay. It's not continuing to deteriorate. I've stabilized, but I lost a significant portion of my vision in going through that ordeal, and some of my liver function and kidney function, and you know, um, spinal issues, and it's not as bad as it sounds, but I have some permanent damage that I'm gonna have for the rest of my life, um, and I'm grateful because once you start to lose your vision, and you're like, oh my god, I'm gonna go blind. That's how it feels. You lose half your vision in less than a year. You're like, oh my god, I'm just gonna be blind and in pain the rest of my life. But actually, it stabilized, and I lost maybe half, 40% or whatever. Uh, I'll take it. It hasn't continued to deteriorate. Uh, I could see just fine for the rest of my life like this, and I'm okay with it. It's better than being blind. And even then, I'm such an eternal optimist that I'll be okay being blind. Like, I won't want it to happen, but be kind of excited about it. The kung fu gets better. Like, there are all kind of benefits. Your other senses. And, that wouldn't bother me as much as being immobilized or something like that, where I couldn't live my life. I see. So the other guy's coming to take over there. See, he's shining his lights, and he's walking down past Salvation Mountain, and he's shining to make sure that everything's okay over there. So that means I'm off duty. Hey. Uh, those lights in the distance are the cities south of here, Nyland, Broadly, and Calipetra. And Nyland's really part of the slabs. I mean, I, I have lots of friends in Nyland, and no other. No, if you want to consider it Babylonian, because they like own their houses or pay rent or whatever, they live with it on the grid, and they know all about slab culture. They know the difference. They don't come up here and they they play at the range. And, a lot of people are both slabbers and islanders. A lot of my good friends up here are both. Um, I mean, consider me both at this point. I have a lot of friends in Ireland, and sometimes I go down there a couple times a week and take a shower, and I hang out with AJ at the laundromat, and we drink bougie coffee and eat tacos, and I throw a few quarters in and I do my laundry in a washing machine. I don't do it often, but it's not unprecedented. I go down there often and hang out because they're my friends, and have coffee a lot and tacos. But maybe a couple times a month, I'll actually use the machine. It's there. I'm hanging out with my friends anyway. If I have the quarters, why not? Most of the time, though, I kind of prefer to do my own laundry. And by doing my own laundry, I don't mean carry it in a bag and throw it in the machine. I mean take it to the cold shower, which is a little water outlet, kind of like a waterfall. I'll put my soap in a milk crate with my clothing, and the waterfall will power wash it and rinse it for me, and I'll wring it out by hand. Or wash small loads in 5 gallon buckets at a time and things like that. I kind of enjoy the primitive lifestyle mixed with the high technology. So, I'm on a laptop while I'm hand washing in a bucket type of thing. It's fun. It just feels more natural. And I tell you what you call civilization in society is a new experiment. And 99% of our ancestors of humanity, all the way back to 20,000 years or more, have lived more like me than like most of you. This is proven. Self-policing, tribal communities are long established and proven to work for tens of thousands of years, um, relying on fragile infrastructure to stuff as many people into small spaces where they would die. Did you know that in places like Los Angeles or New York City or Chicago or most big urban metropolises, um, uh, if a disaster happened and they were cut off the grid, um, you know, um, even if they started growing food on day one, most of the people would still die. You can't grow enough food. There's not enough land. The people are too packed in together. Even if you grew every available inch of earth in Los Angeles, 3/4 of the people would still die. Like, if everyone became a farmer on the first day of a disaster, that's an incredibly vulnerable position to be in. Um, Relying on long supply chains, highway, gasoline infrastructure is amazing, the marvels of technology, but it's also an incredibly fragile thing. Um, these 2 canals that we live near here are fed by the Colorado River, and anything could go wrong between here and 1,000 miles, and the water will stop, and millions of people will die from that. Except us, because we have the natural hot springs here, and those hot springs recycle several 100,000, if not a million, gallons of water every 36 hours or so. So we can survive here indefinitely. We could grow our population and filter that hot springs water, which we have the expertise to do. And materials, all you need is sand and rocks and sunshine. We have a population here who is familiar with sterilizing water sources like that. That water source won't dry up for tens of thousands of years. We can stay here forever. We don't rely on that infrastructure. Now, of course, I go to the store and I get water. I get water delivery. I fill up my containers. Um, but I have filters here. I could do that by myself if I was the only human survivor. You see, I could survive the rest of my life without worrying about relying on that grid for power, for water, for food, even. Of course, we mostly buy our own food, and some people grow here. We have animals and livestock here. There are sheep and goats in the slabs and in the surrounding farms. Um, there are chickens and rabbits. You know, we could make a go of it from day one, and we won't be like those big metropolises, instant death of mass segments of the population, where most people die. In Slab City, during that same exact disaster, most people would live. Uh, and that is a secure feeling, even if it, it looks precarious from the outside. Um, there, it looks like Slabs is the edgy, unsafe place to live, but actually, the Slabs is sustainable for thousands of years. And you're in the edgy, unsafe place to live, really relying on a razor's edge of technology and infrastructure that just, small percent deviation will kill millions. Uh, that won't happen here. Rabbits breed fast, chickens breed fast. Uh, we plant fast growing crops, which we already have. Right? There, um, there are small fish in our little bodies of water here. Like we would make a go of it, and I think very few people would actually die. Maybe some of our most vulnerable would, because more people would have to work in farming and livestock and stuff. But my life would have changed very surprisingly little. if I was completely cut off from the rest of the world and just had to live in the slabs and never leave. And some people do exactly that. Um, I find myself leaving less and less. I, if you don't count an island, which, like I said, is part of Slab City, both culturally and like in proximity, even though it's on the grid. If you don't count an island, I leave the slabs a few times a year, once in a while, and I haven't left the county in well over a year. What, maybe two? I'm trying to remember. Oh, I went to Texas last year to visit my kid. Um, it's the last time I left the county. Um, I just haven't been to San Diego in a while or Los Angeles. Um, like Jack said one time up at West Haven, the longer you do that, the longer you want to do it. You know, I get what he's saying there. When I see a Burger King, it's very strange. It used to be just nothing normal. Go to Burger King and buy some stuff from the dollar menu. Now it's like an odd experience. I'm uncomfortably cold, for example, and the food is terrible now. I used to dig that stuff, but I cook my own burgers on the grill, and I go to Wrangler's Roost, and his burgers are fantastic. And the people at the range make a better burger than Burger King. You know, you get a fresh slice of tomato, whatever you ask for. They cut the onions in front of you. It's gonna come out of a big box, big white box that says onions on the side. Anyway, I gotta get some rest, not too much, but I want some downtime and chillax and maybe just clean a little bit because it is a bit messy. And this is probably the last night I'm gonna spend in the van for a while. Tomorrow I'll probably sleep in there because I started to build a bedroom and building a hackerspace back up in there. I've done all these portable milk crates. I promise, I'll show you in the light one of these days. I've been collecting milk crates because, see, we did that in the Bronx. We use milk crates. Um, So-called rednecks do that too, right? So I use them in stackable solutions. Like I have under this other van here. I have milk crates that pull out like drawers. So I probably have over 100 of these at this point. Pulls out of there. That one pulls out of there. I have so many. So it makes it easy to transport. Okay, the hackerspace is gonna be over here, and I move these milk crates and stack them, and now I have a wall, and that's the wall of the hackerspace. And so this one's full of laptops. And that one has inverters. There's another one of laptops on the top. This is all wiring, different types of wire. Here's another one of laptops. Just because it's the laptop section, another one of laptops. They're not all working laptops. I could probably get 4 or 5 out of those 20. I use it for parts. Good hard drive in one, good battery in another, and so on. And I only keep one working laptop for myself. And give the rest away. And so every time I get another one, I have a list of who needs it, and the next one's going. The next 2 are going to my 2 neighbors here. They've been waiting for a bit. Patriots Point and Dab Lounge are next, and I have their laptops almost ready. So they'll be the next 2 to get. I have a long list of phone, but I did actually manage to get 3 or 4 phones out in the last week, which that's hard because everybody needs a phone. So if anybody wants to send me something, send me your old phones and send me your own laptops. They don't have to work. That's immediately useful to me and immediately helpful in slabs because even a cracked phone with a broken screen, I get 2 of those same Samsung models, and now I have a good phone, and I give that to a person who needs it. And people don't care if the screen's a little cracked or it doesn't have a back or it's a cheap phone. There's a huge difference being out here in the desert. We have several places where you could stop and get Wi-Fi here, so they could download entertainment, education, all kinds of stuff. Survival. Even a cracked phone without a SIM card will call 911. which will save someone's life. So if I could get a crack phone and with no SIM card in the hands of every slabber in the summer, which is only, 150, 175, 200 people at the most, that's not 200 broken old phones. Shouldn't be that hard to get. Um, it would literally make everyone have the ability to save 911 and save lives for themselves and each other. That's why I prioritize that kind of thing. And the laptops are good too. Like besides the entertainment and um, organizational value, educational, um, and people make their income there. It's just, it's, uh, I enjoy uh, bringing my technological skill set here to a place that has a traditionally low technology, um, and without it becoming a Starbucks. Mm-hmm. A little light in the van. It's super messy here. It's how you can tell I don't smoke crack because I just show you random stuff. So that's a dab thing for marijuana, not for crack or whatever. I just throw the milk crates in here while I'm organizing. I got my amp, I got my bass guitar, some batteries that I've fixed up, and a little extra food. Um, I tend to give away food too, so like I get a case of peanut butter from the pastor, for example. I'll keep them in the van so I don't have to run in the house when someone says, "Hey, you have any extra stuff?" I'll pull out here. I have applesauce, I have tomatoes, I have peanut butter, and rice, and I'll pack somebody a bag, and I won't have to stop, fixing the musical instrument or whatever. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for keeping me up there. My watch around time's up. Um, it's voluntary, so I can never do it again, or I could do it every day. I don't do it every day, but whenever I can, which is often, at least once or twice a week, and if called upon, I'm always if called upon, and I'm always ready to drop what I'm doing and help a camp in need or help a slaver in need or a tourist in need. Um, and people did it for me. I said yesterday I had my own heat related emergency, and people did it for me. Person after person, they checked on me. They brought me water and you know, make sure I was okay, and that means a lot to me. And I'll do it the rest of the month, or the rest of the year, and uh, I feel like that's the right thing to do, and it's my duty to do. How much is my life worth? Well, it's worth the other 364 days where I'll help other people stay alive, and that's one of the reasons I really love Slab City. Anyway, good morning, good night, whatever it is. The last person watching, but yeah, my channel is more for me and my family, and not for entertainment. So watch if you like. I've never asked anybody to like and subscribe. You do what your heart tells you to do. And if you don't like me, go watch someone else. I rather have two people on here who genuinely care or are interested than 50 haters and just to get numbers. Like my channel's not monetized, so whatever. What you see is what you get. This is not a show. This is snippets into my life, and I'm as much talking to myself and to my family and friends for posterity than I am to anybody who happens to be interested in slabs. But I think it's still interesting. It's a different perspective than you normally see. Um, but it's definitely not a show. So if you're looking for that, go watch Katz's channel and Cornelius' channel, and sometimes they have show formats, and they're both really informative. And if that's the way you like to process your information about Slab City, then I will go there. Um, if you want to look weirdly through somebody's eyes on the ground as they do unplanned rants, then I'll watch this one. Really, if you want to get a real idea, watch as many as possible, and then you'll see how we interact, and maybe you'll understand. better than if you just watched one. Man, super tired. I bought this fur mattress cover. It's so nice. It's the first thing I purchased in a store in a while. It was $8 in a thrift store. It's super furry. It's like a fur coat, but it's like a king size mattress cover. So it's like a giant fur sleeping bag, and it's amazing. I put a mattress inside, like a really soft double futon mattress. And, uh, Honestly, it's more comfortable than a bed. And I could pick it up and drop it anywhere. I could put it on the roof if I want to sleep up there. I could put it in the sand. I could put it inside the van. I could put it on top of my bed and have a plush. It's great. Yeah, full tours and videos in the light coming soon. Good night. Thank you for helping me stay up while I keep my neighbors safe. And tomorrow I get to sleep and somebody else will keep me safe. Ciao. Arrivederci. Sayonara. Hasta luego. Shalom. How?